Happy Monday, everybody. I'm very excited. Today I was just thinking this morning, I really miss having our morning conversations where we talk about the positive eco news. It kind of feels like recently a lot of online communities have been fragmented and replaced more with businesses and things like that. And the thing about environmentalist life and an activist life, and everything that we do is conversation is the most important thing. Whether you're getting conversations at screenings, you're getting to talk to people in interviews, or you just get these kind of amazing online community discussions to talk about things that are happening. So there's so many updates to do. I wanted to just start off by coming back in, having a coffee, and talking about some incredibly positive eco news, because so often we hear about the problems, especially when we're working with documentary. We go out and we see so many of the problems firsthand, and it really becomes an overwhelming narrative. And I think a lot of people respond to that overwhelmingness in a negative way. And we have to remember as environmentalists that we have the power to change everything around us easily. Sometimes it's as simple as buying something different to as complicated as trying to convince your local lobby or your local politician that it's an important thing to address. And we've seen activists do everything all across the board, and everybody doing it at the same time is what creates the change. So as together, we have to remember as a community, we're so powerful. And that's what's really cool about right now is we wanted to talk about positive eco news. So let's forget about all the problems. We know they're out there, but there are, and especially right now, people are very, have issues with scientists. Basically, if you like the science, you believe in it. And if you don't like it, you say they were paid for by the opposition of your view. That's kind of where we find ourselves today in this polarized world. But luckily, there are still scientists working for answers that are not corporate based always. Now, this one I don't think is very popular because they recently did a study that showed that some plants would have 50% less insecticide and pesticide if they used nets, particularly one color. And that is what's so fascinating. Can we remove dangerous poisons from our food just with a little bit of fashion sense and color, maybe? Now, one thing I saw today that I thought was very interesting is the major food manufacturers are an F grade for reducing pesticides in food. Now, this started a long time ago because they basically, when these companies have their board meetings, they have to project into the future, and it has to be based on what the people are wanting or what the market wants. So a lot of people wanted cleaner food. So they said, you know what, we're going to reduce pesticide use by 10 years from now. And it's a big goal, but if we all band together, maybe we can do this. So obviously they all failed with an F, but it's fine because in those 10 years, they were able to continue to use low-cost pesticides and boost their profits. But the problem is there's always a price to pay, and generally that price comes into our health. So we pay the price for the corporation's profits. So it would be very nice if farming could be organic, natural, and sustainable. And recently, the University of Tokyo did a study. I don't know if you all saw it in the news or not, but they did a study where they used red nets. And they found that when they use these red nets, particularly on these onion fields they tested it on, it reduced the pesticides by 50%. So there was 50% less damage than if it would have been used without pesticides. So 50% less damage. That means that there must be other natural ways in order for us to maintain a healthy understanding. Now, I think it's interesting because when you think about nature, you think about color, and you think about how color is used in nature in a lot of different ways. As a matter of fact, there's one way that I wanted to bring up, and we are all familiar with this, aposematism, which is what that is when nature says, you better back off. And a lot of times the color red is used. Now, what's really interesting about this study in Tokyo is they found that these nets, here you can see they were using the red and white type nets, the red type nets. Now, the interesting thing about this is they were saying that a lot of these bugs do not have red in their color spectrum. I'm going to put this little interesting thing up here. Um, Now, okay, first of all, everybody thinks it's going to be about the size of the mesh. Well, when you look at what they did, they found that with red, even with larger size mesh, it still deterred more bugs. Meaning the idea of the size of the net doesn't necessarily mean it's going to keep out all the bugs of that size. Now, what they say that's interesting is the optical pest control, which is what they call it, relies on nature of insect color vision to keep pests away. Most insects do not have red photoreceptors in their eyes, and it's difficult for them to see the color red. So we found it curious that an invisible color could be used to control them. So nobody understands exactly why this works yet, but one thing they do know, it works. So that could change things and start a brand new way of thinking about agriculture, because agriculture was a very contentious thing. When we think about Jethro Tull, we think about the agricultural revolution. Did it save humanity or did it doom humanity? Has always been a big question discussed in a lot of circles. Hey, Vicky, good morning. Thanks for joining. Great to have. I don't know if you're having a water, a coffee, a tea, any kind of midday beverage, but cheers. I'm glad you joined us this morning. And what we want to start doing is just talking every morning about positive eco stories. So today, when you're thinking about the world and you're thinking about all the problems, take a few moments and think about the amazing solutions and changes that we learn as a collective humans throughout time. And as we learn more and more, we learn the problems and we correct them. And I think we're starting to see that with chemical use. Chemical use got very heavy interplay starting only about 100 years ago. And that's a very short period of time when you consider human history. Now, the damage that it has created within that time is extremely disproportionate to the amount of time it has been around with people. So people 100 years ago were not as contaminated with pesticides and things that we are now, and chemicals in general. So we can change it. And moving forward, there's no reason that we have to continue just what we've been doing just because we're used to it. Hey, Elizabeth, good morning. Red algae I saw in the Indian River Lagoon last summer. That is a warning color for sure. Wow. Yeah, red algae, never good. I love that nature has a way of communicating. It doesn't speak our language, but what is language? Every country has a language. Hey, Perry, it's nice to see you this morning. Good morning, and thanks for joining. Well, I guess it's actually, no, technically we're still in the morning. So cheers, everybody. Yes, and like I said, remember, nature naturally will heal itself. Nature is designed to heal itself. Nature has so many pieces of it that it's designed to work as a whole, not an individualized piece. And that's what we always have to keep in mind. Even though we're introducing things like chemicals into our nature, those things can be removed and those things can be dealt with. And as we start to understand nature more, the more we can start to walk away from this plastic world that's created way too many problems that nobody likes, except for the people that manufacture plastic. And that is, something that I think we all have in common. So the other thing is, you know what? I missed seeing everybody. It's great to see all these names here because, when you're thinking about all this all the time and you're always thinking about the environment, the world around us, we all see the world from a slightly different perspective than other people that just think about it through usage. And I think that what we've got here is one of those things where it's challenging to bring these topics up because people shut them down. So take the positive news, share the positive news, enjoy the positive news. Let's revel in the positive news. We need to find a new way of thinking moving forward. And a lot of it we can learn from looking back at nature and understanding how nature works with nature. So anyway, positive eco news. You guys all have a wonderful, wonderful Monday and start to the week. And I look forward to seeing everybody this week. Let's just get together and start talking about positive things going on in our world, literally. All right. Cheers. Happy Monday.